Am I the jerk for breaking a guy's phone? For thinking he's showing his friends pics of his girlfriend without her consent? Yesterday, my friends and I went out for the NBA Finals. It was a few couples and just friends who wanted to hang out. After a while, a lot of the girls went home, but I stayed because I'm a huge NBA fan. Later on in the night, I'm talking with my friend on my right, and to the left of me, I hear sexual comments from three guys in our group. I don't really know the guy showing the pics, but he's the boyfriend of a girl that is just a friend of a friend. Someone I wouldn't mind hanging out with in a group setting, but wouldn't hang out individually. I turn my attention to them and eventually gather that they're looking at X rated pics of his girlfriend. I had a few and turned to him and asked to see his phone. He asked if I needed to call somebody, and I just said I liked his and was getting a new one soon. He locked his phone and handed it to me, which I immediately threw on the bar floor. He, of course, yells at me, and I say it's so he can't show his friends any more pictures. He says his girlfriend doesn't care. She actually wants to hear what people say. I sincerely doubted this because, really? This turns into a screaming match, and we both get thrown out of the bar. This entire morning, I'm just getting texts from his girlfriend, furious with how I handled it. Turns out she actually does like it. He tells her what other people have said about her body, and it gives her a lot of self confidence. They're demanding I pay for a new phone, but I think what I did was rational, and it was just their unusual relationship that made it a bad result. Would I be the jerk if I didn't replace his phone? You're the jerk. You acted like a crazy drunk person. Even if you had been right, you still had zero right to act the way that you did. You're also in no place to judge what is unusual or not about someone else's relationships. You're the jerk. Really? Of course you're the jerk here and should pay for a new phone. You didn't even bother to ask him if he has his girlfriend's approval. You just immediately destroyed his property. The phone is broken. Someone needs to pay for a new one. You think it's more fair that he has to because it's his fault for having an unusual relationship than it is your fault for destroying someone else's property because you jumped to conclusions? You're the jerk. Don't break other people's things. That's destruction of property and it's illegal. Right thing to do would be to contact the girlfriend in the morning and tell her what happened. Am I the jerk for telling my son that I would pick my husband over him in a life-threatening situation? My husband and I were just eating some breakfast this morning and having light conversations. Our son then wakes up and comes out of his room to eat too. He almost immediately asks me who I would choose if there was only enough space to take one of us onto the lifeboat. By the way, I hate attention seeking and feeling sorry for yourself. This question is obviously just that, but I do still believe what I said is true. I told him that I would take my husband. I love my son very much and would feel sad, but he is not my life partner. He will leave in a few years and I would be completely alone then, and we could always make a new child together with my husband. Our son then left the table almost immediately and probably cried himself to sleep. What a weird morning. You're the jerk. I don't even need a reason. You literally just told your son you don't care about him. I told him that I love his dad more. I know, but you don't tell your child that. You tell him you love him so much and you'd try anything you can to save the both of them. You can get a new husband too. The way you word this, like your son is just so bothersome, like your comment here, probably cried himself to sleep. Ugh, you're the jerk. The correct answer was I would jump off to let both of you on. Of course, it is terrible to be put on the spot by questions like this. If there is no answer that wouldn't hurt someone's feelings, then you can try to avoid the question with something like, "What a horrible situation. I wouldn't know what to do." It's so callous. It all makes me feel very much like this isn't real. Because if it is you, you must dislike your son very much. Saying he's seeking attention to him, crying himself to sleep, and saying that you can make a new child, it's all very horrible, and you should have never had children. You're the jerk. Are you defective? Like, did someone remove your emotion chip? Have you never heard of a white lie? Are you secretly a spy who is using her family as a cover story? Children are not replaceable. Also, I suspect with a mother like you, your child was just looking for some sign that he matters to you at all. You're the jerk. Sometimes we don't end up with a picture perfect family or picture perfect parents. Those who do are incredibly lucky, but for those of us who don't, it should not hinder our progress. Opie probably didn't mean anything bad. For her, it was just a hypothetical question. She just wasn't sensitive enough to see what her son's real question was. That's it for today. See you again in another episode of VaeciaReads. Bye! Without her consent, hi baby! Yeah, that's what I get for recording with a kitty in the room.